to do another video on this yoke set because we have to remove that at this time. I've done several videos on yokes. This is a pretty common problem, is for these U-joints to need replaced. So go ahead and grab a screwdriver. Go ahead and tap on the clip that holds that joint together. Sometimes it takes a little bit smaller screwdriver. Depending on condition, there's boots protecting this, but sometimes those boots allow water in, or just get water in somehow, and these joints can get rusty. So take and pop that clip out a little bit. I like to put my hand around it so it doesn't fly away, and then do the other side. So right now we're taking this yoke out. Do the other side of that joint. I like to just start it, and then once you start it, you can get a screwdriver. A lot of times you can get a screwdriver in behind there. Check my other videos. I've done videos on when these clips don't want to come out. I show you how an easy way of getting them out when they're just sitting there spinning. So check my other channel for that. Then take and tap on the yoke here. What that does is push the caps off. So there, it's out there. And if you're wanting to replace this joint, what I'd suggest doing if you're having to take this off, because these are $15 to $20 for a good one, and while you're there, you may as well put a new one in there. But because we've done other videos on this, I'm not going to go into detail on replacing that joint. We just need to remove this bolt here, or this nut. 7/8 nut there holding this yoke set on. Pull that out, you've got a spacer there. I'm going to set those together. Now we've got our output shaft sticking out here, and we can go ahead and remove this. There is shims on the bottom side here. I don't know if there will be on the top side, or if this is just a one-piece shim, but 12mm bolts holding that on. And this is aluminum, so be really careful you don't beat on this with anything that you can take. This is not a sealed area right here. Inside it is. You can take and put a little pressure on there to pull that out. And you can see there is the O-ring that seals everything, so obviously don't damage that. And don't damage this area. Here is our shims here that I was talking about. What these shims do is just determine how far in or out this gear is, and it's got a gear on the inside here, and I'll show you that when we split the case, but it's got a gear on the inside here. So the smaller your shims, or the less shims you have, the closer this gear is going to be together. So you can see right here it's not spinning at all, so this would be drastic. If we had a whole bunch of shims, it wouldn't be touching at all. We pushed it in and left just a small space. When you turn that, there'll be no movement at all. So you don't want it tight. You can hear there. That's a little bit loose, but again, we have a pretty good gap in here. So they sell different sizes of these. You can reuse these. There's no sealed area on this around these shims here, so you can reuse those if it's exactly where it needs to be. But we'll pull that out for now. Those gears you want to replace together. So a lot of people will sell those separate. If you're buying a used one, you want to make sure you buy them together, because that's the way that Yamaha sells them, and you want to keep them that way. I'm going to go ahead and pull this oil line off here. 5mm, 3 different bolts here. And these aren't very tight. Typically these are pretty well lubricated from just oil draining down or dripping from different parts of the motor. So oil line is off there, and there is your strainer there, picking up from your bottom end. And so you want to make sure that that screen in there is clean. You can spray carbon choke cleaner to clean that, or brake cleaner. I'm going to pull this clip off while we're here. Be careful. You've got a spacer in behind here that'll keep you from damaging that seal. So you want to make sure you've got it in that order. Circlip, washer, and then seal there. If that seal is leaking, which is pretty common because you're constantly moving your shifter there, you can just pull these two parts out, replace that seal, push a new one in there. Make sure your shaft is in good condition, not grooved or worn or bent, and pretty easy project to do. I'm going to go ahead and pull, since we've got the motor flipped on this side, I'm going to go ahead and pull a handful of Allen bolts and different bolts holding this case together.